Main text. Early morning. The radiant morning sunlight streamed onto his face, bringing a warm and pleasant sensation. Daniel Walker had just woken up, rubbing his sleepy eyes as he rolled off the bed, intending to head to the bathroom to relieve himself. But before his feet could even touch the ground, he felt a sudden void beneath him, and his entire body quickly plummeted. Ah! He screamed instinctively, flailing his arms wildly in the air. Rip! Amidst the sharp tearing sound, his fingertips seemed to grab onto something, and his falling momentum suddenly slowed. What on earth is going on? Startled awake, Daniel Walker opened his eyes wide, and immediately felt a wave of tension. To his shock, he found that the surroundings were no longer his familiar bedroom but a dense forest. Not only that, but he was now dangling midair from a tree branch 7 or 8 meters above the ground. Looking around, he saw towering ancient trees all around, birds chirping melodiously, flowers exuding a fragrant aroma, and a gentle breeze blowing softly. Looking down, he saw 2 short, fluffy black legs, with the ground below covered in fallen leaves and moss. Looking up, he saw a pair of small, soft black paws. Soft, velvety paws? What the heck is this? Why do I have paws? Startled, Daniel Walker quickly pulled one of his hands in front of his face to get a better look. Rip! But as soon as he let go, his body slipped downward, causing him to panic and hurriedly grab onto the branch again. After struggling to regain his balance, he anxiously tried to recall, why am I hanging from a tree? Why am I in a forest? I was clearly, on a blind date with a beautiful woman, wasn't I? If he couldn't remember, that would have been one thing, but as soon as he did, he was even more shocked. Because Daniel Walker suddenly remembered, he had died. As for how he died, let's not bring it up. In any case, he remembered it wasn't a glorious death. In fact, it was downright embarrassing, the kind of story that would make people laugh until their sides hurt. But why, after dying, did he suddenly appear in a dense forest? Could it be that he had been reincarnated? Wasn't it said that reincarnation erases all memories? This script is all wrong. Huh? At that moment, a doubtful sound echoed from beneath the tree. Daniel Walker lowered his head and discovered a little girl standing at the base of the tree, looking up at him with her big, round, jet-black eyes. The girl was thin and frail, dressed in a simple blue coarse fabric outfit, her hair braided into 2 goat horn pigtails, and wearing a rare pair of small cloth shoes. Her appearance screamed countryside girl. Seeing her, Daniel Walker felt a surge of joy in his heart and quickly asked politely, "Hello, little girl. Can you tell me what day it is today?" Ba ba ba. To his shock, the moment he opened his mouth, a series of soft bleats like a baby goat came out instead. What the heck? My voice? What on earth is going on? Startled by the sound, Daniel Walker hurriedly used his 2 small paws to cover his mouth. But he had forgotten that he was hanging on a tree branch. The moment his paws let go, his entire body plummeted straight to the ground like a falling ball. Help! Ba ba ba! As the ground rushed closer, he let out another terrified cry. To his surprise, halfway through his fall, he landed in a pair of warm arms. The little girl beneath the tree had astonishingly leapt several meters into the air, catching Daniel Walker mid-fall and safely landing back on the ground with him in her embrace. Hee hee. Why are you so timid? I just said, huh, and you got scared enough to fall off the tree. The girl held Daniel Walker, turning him over and examining him curiously. But you look really strange. You clearly have the shape of a bear, but why are you black and white? And your cries are so weird. You're the one who looks like a bear. Your whole family looks like bears. Daniel Walker, realizing he was being treated like a stuffed toy, angrily retorted. But the moment he opened his mouth, all that came out was another round of ba ba ba. Instead of sounding intimidating, it made him seem even smaller and more helpless. Yes. Small and helpless. Because compared to the little girl's size, Daniel Walker realized his current form was only about as big as a house cat, utterly adorable. Alright, stop crying. I'll let you go. The girl giggled as she placed him gently on the ground. Go on, go find your mom. With his forepaws touching the ground, Daniel Walker hurriedly scampered off into the forest in a panic. But after only a few steps, he suddenly stopped, as if compelled by an invisible force. Find my mom? Where would I even begin to look for her? I'm clearly a human. Am I supposed to look for a bear mom? Muttering to himself, he abruptly turned around and headed back toward the girl. Compared to wandering aimlessly in a dangerous forest, he felt it was better to adapt to human life. Instead of searching for some unfamiliar bear mother, he might as well follow the girl and see where she lived. The girl, who had just released Daniel Walker and was preparing to venture deeper into the forest, was surprised to see him trotting back toward her. She squatted down, patted his head, and giggled. Hey there, little one, why are you following me? Do you want to come home with me? Yes. I want to see your house. Daniel Walker, delighted that the girl understood his intentions, didn't even bother to argue about being called little. He eagerly replied. Me. Once again, his words turned into the bleating of a baby goat. Unfortunately, despite Daniel Walker's simple request, the girl didn't agree. She patted his head, sighed regretfully, and said, Oh dear, you're really cute, but I'm looking for a spirit beast to form a contract with. You don't have any spiritual energy in you, so I can't take you home. With that, she stood up and continued walking deeper into the forest. Contract beast? What the heck is that? Hearing this, Daniel Walker panicked as he saw the little girl leaving him behind. No way. In this desolate place, he didn't want to be alone. What if he encountered a gray wolf or fell into a trap? He'd be done for. He had to stick with this girl. Even if it meant freeloading. Bleat bleat. Bleat bleat. He quickly cried out, chasing after the girl's steps. The girl hadn't walked far when she noticed Daniel Walker running toward her, looking somewhat helpless. But after standing still and thinking for a moment, she suddenly came up with an idea. She began gesturing oddly at Daniel Walker while saying, Sorry, little one. To keep you from wandering off and getting lost, I'll have to tie you up. But don't worry, once the magic fades, you'll be free to move around again. While making strange hand signs toward Daniel Walker, she continued, Really sorry, little thing. Since I can't let you follow me and run around everywhere, I'll have to tie you up for now. But you don't need to worry, after a while, the magic will fade, and you'll be free to act. As soon as she finished speaking, a blue glow suddenly lit up in her hands. She abruptly pointed at Daniel Walker and softly commanded, Bind. The blue light transformed into a small net of light, darting toward Daniel Walker like lightning. What the heck? With his short legs and clumsy movements, Daniel Walker couldn't dodge in time and was instantly caught by the net of light. But just as he was about to purse his lips and bleat bleat in protest, he suddenly felt a warm sensation spreading through him. The net of light covering him quickly melted away like snow under the sun, and then a strange energy surged into his limbs and bones. So refreshing. As the peculiar energy flowed into his body, Daniel Walker felt his entire being tingling, so comfortable that he trembled all over. Oh? You can actually resist my magic? The girl's eyes widened in disbelief as she saw her spell mysteriously dissolve on Daniel Walker. She exclaimed in surprise, Are you actually a spirit beast? Chapter 2, I'm a panda. Daniel Walker saw the astonished look on the little girl's face and thought to himself, There's hope. He didn't have time to wonder what a spirit beast was, nor did he bother analyzing why the little girl could use magic. He hurriedly nodded his head repeatedly, exclaiming, Yes. I'm a spirit beast. I'm definitely a spirit beast. Unfortunately, as soon as he spoke, it came out as me. Luckily, though the little girl couldn't understand what Daniel Walker was saying, her attitude shifted completely. She reached out and picked him up, turning him over and examining him while muttering in amazement, How strange. You clearly don't have any spiritual energy on you, so how could you resist my magic? You're asking me? Who am I supposed to ask? I'd like to ask you why you even know magic. Daniel Walker, being poked and prodded as she turned him this way and that, felt a deep sense of grievance in his heart. However, after being repeatedly humiliated by his own me sounds, he had grown smarter. After thinking quietly for a moment, he decided not to speak anymore. Instead, he switched tactics, opting to use a pitiful gaze to win her over. I'm not a little bear, am I? Then I'll just sell my adorableness with gentle eyes. Daniel Walker stared intently at the little girl's glasses, trying his best to appear as cute as possible. But to his dismay, the girl's attention wasn't on his appearance at all. After kneading and inspecting him for a while, she continued muttering to herself, so strange. My binding talisman can restrain even regular wild boars, but it's useless against you. And yet, you don't have any spiritual energy. Hearing her mumbling, Daniel Walker thought she might abandon him again. Panicking, he stuck out his tongue in an attempt to appear endearing. As if possessed by some strange impulse, he lightly licked the back of her hand. The girl chuckled at his action, but her decision didn't change. She reached out to gently pat his head, her expression conflicted as she said, "You don't have any spiritual energy, so you won't pass the family's spirit beast test. If you can't pass the test, you won't qualify for spirit beast rations. Sigh, I can't even afford to feed myself. If I take you home, you'll starve to death sooner or later. Forget it, you should just go." She reached out her hand to gently pat his head, her expression filled with reluctance as she said, "You don't have any spiritual power, so you won't pass the clan's spirit beast examination. Without passing the test, you won't be able to receive the spirit beast food rations. Sigh, I can barely support myself. If I take you back, sooner or later, you'll starve to death. You should just leave." After saying this, the little girl, though clearly hesitant, reluctantly placed Daniel Walker on the ground. Spirit beast examination? And food rations? Is this the legendary all-inclusive deal? Hearing the little girl's muttering, Daniel Walker suddenly felt an overwhelming excitement in his heart. Seeing that she was about to leave, he quickly pounced forward, wrapping his tiny front legs tightly around her calf and shouting, "I am a spirit beast. I am a spirit beast. I will definitely pass the test." As soon as he finished speaking, his cries turned into a series of pitiful bleats, filled with panic. The little girl looked at Daniel Walker's frightened appearance and seemed to think of something, standing frozen in place. After a long moment, her eyes reddened, and she picked him up again, saying softly, "Could it be that you, like me, are also an orphan?" She fell silent for a while, before seemingly making a firm decision. Resolutely, she said, "All right then. If taking you home means we starve, so be it. We'll starve together." Hearing her decision to bring him home, Daniel Walker was overjoyed. Starving? So what? At worst, he could sneak out to steal some chickens, or chicken eggs. But chickens were too strong. Too powerful to provoke. No matter what, it was still better than staying alone in this dangerous forest. Baba! He let out two happy bleats, snuggling into the little girl's arms with delight. A few hours later. Western Leaching, Reed Mansion. Theo Daniel Walker thought the little girl carrying him must come from a poor family, but the reality was entirely beyond his expectations. Because after she carried him to a mountainous city, she directly entered a grand and majestic building. This house had a wide and spacious entrance, with several guards standing on either side of the gate. Above the door hung a large plaque with the words Reed Mansion inscribed on it. Inside, the space was not only vast, but also intricately decorated, exuding an air of grandeur. Could it be that the little girl was a servant of this wealthy household? Or perhaps a maid to some noble lady? Even the maids here know magic. How extraordinary this world is. Daniel Walker noticed that as the girl carried him into the mansion, the guards at the gate neither stopped her nor greeted her, allowing her to pass without question. His mind began to churn with curiosity. But the scene that followed completely overturned his assumptions. Because after wandering around the grand estate for a while, the girl carried him to a secluded small courtyard. Moreover, as they entered, an elderly man tending to the flowers outside addressed her as Miss Anna. Miss? This raggedly dressed girl is a young lady of the house? How absurd. A young lady from a wealthy family, yet unable to afford proper meals? Could it be that this family had fallen into ruin? Remembering the words the girl had spoken earlier, Daniel Walker couldn't help but feel a growing sense of doubt. Creak. As he was deep in thought, the girl pushed open the door and carried him into the courtyard. Daniel Walker widened his eyes, looking around, and discovered that this courtyard was not only narrow but the buildings within were also old and worn, completely unlike the luxurious and ornate structures in the main estate. What surprised him the most was that the courtyard contained not only a lush bamboo grove but also several small plots of land for growing vegetables. On a bamboo trellis in the corner, a few cucumber vines were climbing. Could it be that the girl grew these herself? The little girl, so young, had to grow her own vegetables to eat. How pitiful. Daniel Walker thought about the girl claiming to be an orphan, and a wave of sorrow and empathy surged within him. Because he himself was also an orphan. Hey kid, don't run around. Tomorrow morning, I'll take you to the Spirit Beast Hall for a checkup. The girl closed the courtyard door, set Daniel Walker down on the ground, and instructed him. Daniel Walker, now free with all four paws on the ground, didn't immediately run off, but instead continued trailing behind the girl. He wanted to see what kind of place she lived in. As expected, when the girl entered her house, Daniel saw a scene he wished he hadn't. Inside the house, apart from a wooden bed and a set of table and chairs, there was only a wooden cabinet against the wall. The phrase bare walls and empty house perfectly described it. Moreover, the bedding on the bed was thin and flimsy, just looking at it made one feel cold. The girl entered the house, tidied up her belongings, and then walked over to the table. She reached out, picked up a gourd ladle on the table, and took out a cold steamed bun from a bowl beneath it. Breaking the bun in half, she handed it to Daniel Walker. Little one, you must be hungry, right? This is all I have at home. Try it and see if you can eat it. Daniel Walker's dark eyes stared at the girl as he sniffed the cold bun with his nose and realized it seemed to be made of cornmeal. He thought it might be edible. However, he didn't bite into the bun. Instead, he suddenly turned around, wiggled his bottom, and dashed out the door. The girl, seeing that Daniel Walker refused to eat the bun, had a hint of worry flash through her eyes. She stood up to see where he was going and muttered to herself, "How silly of me, bears like meat, why would they eat buns?" But before she could finish her sentence, she froze on the spot. She was stunned to see the little black and white bear she'd brought home running into the bamboo bushes, happily chomping on a bamboo shoot. "You like eating bamboo shoots?" The girl was both surprised and delighted. "I'm a panda. If I don't eat bamboo, what else would I eat?" Daniel Walker gnawed on the bamboo shoot while feeling a mix of grievance and exasperation. Chapter 3, Truly Out of Place. Although being transmigrated into a panda left Daniel Walker speechless, he could only reluctantly accept the reality. A panda? Well, a panda it is. After all, pandas are national treasures. At least it's better than being an ox or a horse. Sitting under a bamboo grove, munching on some bamboo shoots for a while, he eventually stood up and returned to the room. After some busy moments, the little girl had prepared a nest for him. An old bamboo basket and a handful of dry straw served as his bed. Seeing this, Daniel Walker didn't complain. Obediently, he ran over to the little girl and clumsily climbed into the bamboo basket using both his hands and feet. "You're so clever." The little girl couldn't help but reach out to pat his head, laughing heartily as she said, "Oh, right. Should I give you a name?" "I already have a name. My name is Daniel Walker." The moment Daniel Walker heard her mention giving him a name, he immediately protested. But in the next second, he bowed his head in frustration. Because what came out of his mouth was just a string of ba-ba-ba sounds. "You're black and white. How about I call you Dumpling?" The little girl stared at him for a while, her eyes lighting up as she seriously said, "Black sesame dumplings are also black and white, and they're my favorite." Dumpling? Isn't that my nickname? This little girl, could she have predicted that? A kindred spirit. Daniel Walker's eyes lit up, and he quickly stood up, nodding enthusiastically. Hee, you agree, don't you? Then it's decided. The little girl saw him nodding and, as if thinking of something else, cheerfully asked, "Can you understand what I'm saying, little dumpling?" Bah. Daniel Walker nodded vigorously. You really understand? The little girl still seemed a bit unsure and continued, "Then lift your right paw for me." Lift his right paw? Why would he need to lift his right paw? Daniel Walker was momentarily stunned, but after a brief hesitation, he awkwardly lifted his right hind leg. Poof. The little girl couldn't hold back her laughter and said, "I told you to lift your right front leg, not to imitate a golden retriever peeing." Goodness. You were the one who told me to lift my right leg. The front ones are called arms, understand? Right arm. Still struggling to fully accept his identity as a panda, Daniel Walker's face darkened as he irritably plopped down into his nest. Afterward, he raised his right leg, no, wait, his right arm. Then, he lifted his right arm again. Smart. You really understood what I said, hee. That means you're definitely a spirit beast. The little girl was thrilled, hugging him tightly and exclaiming, "Tomorrow, after I get you checked, you can officially register at the Spirit Beast Hall and receive your food rations. Plus, bamboo shoots, your favorite, are easy to find, and even if I have to buy them, they're cheap. I still have some silver coins left, enough to keep you fed for a long time. So, you won't have to go hungry like me anymore." But hearing her cheerful words, Daniel Walker couldn't bring himself to feel happy. This little girl, barely years old, had to worry about hunger every day. And now, she was genuinely overjoyed at the thought that he wouldn't go hungry anymore. What a pitiful child. What kind of twisted world is this? So unfair. Ding. Ding. At that moment, 2 bells suddenly rang outside. Upon hearing the sound, the little girl jumped up and instructed Daniel Walker, "The dining hall is open. I'm going to get food. Little round bun, be good and stay home, don't wander off. I'll be back soon." With that, she grabbed the bowl from the table and dashed out. Daniel Walker watched her figure disappear and let out a quiet sigh. Stretching out all 4 limbs in the bamboo basket, he began to ponder deeply. After half a day of torment, his curiosity about this world had grown immensely. First, this was a cultivation world. That much was obvious from the little girl's use of magic. Second, this world had spirit beasts. This could be inferred from the little girl's actions today. Third, he himself was also a spirit beast, albeit one without spiritual power. This conclusion came from the girl's remarks. Lastly, he was a panda. That part, he felt, needed to be confirmed by looking in a mirror. A moment later, the sound of a door opening and closing echoed in the courtyard. Daniel Walker hurriedly crawled out of his little nest and ran to the door to greet her. "Little Tangyuan, look what I brought for you. Smells good, doesn't it?" The little girl carried a bowl of rice to the door. Seeing him lying on the doorstep eagerly waiting, she chuckled softly, sat down on the threshold, and she took a chicken drumstick from the bowl and held it up to his nose. Daniel Walker caught the aroma of the drumstick and couldn't help but feel his mouth water. But he didn't immediately open his mouth to take a bite. Instead, he sniffed it a few times and then shook his head. Because he keenly noticed that, although the little girl was smiling, her eyes were red, clearly showing that she had just been bullied and was now forcing a smile in front of him. Could this have something to do with the drumstick? It must be. Daniel Walker thought of how the little girl often went hungry, yet now she had brought back a chicken drumstick for him. He could already guess part of the story. Sure enough, when she saw him not eating the drumstick, a hint of disappointment crossed her face. She set the bowl down in front of him with a sigh and said, "Ah, little Tangyuan, I worked so hard to get this drumstick back for you, and you don't even want to eat it. Look for yourself, what do you want to eat? Daniel Walker lowered his head to look and found that the bowl contained only 2 steamed buns and a few strips of pickled radish. He couldn't help but curse silently, MMP. But this MMP wasn't directed at the little girl, it was aimed at this damned Reed Mansion. From what he had seen on the way in, it was clear that Reed Mansion was not short on money. Claiming bankruptcy was just a wild guess on his part. After all, such a vast estate was worth a fortune. Moreover, the intricately carved buildings were priceless, and even the guards at the gate were tall, strong, and full of vigor. There was no sign of bankruptcy at all. And yet, a grand Reed mansion like this was stingy even with the food of a little girl. Truly inhumane. As he fumed inwardly, he climbed over the threshold, ran to a bamboo grove, grabbed a bamboo shoot, and then scurried back to the little girl. Sitting down by her feet, he pretended to gnaw on it. Seeing him gnawing on the bamboo shoot again, the little girl seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. She glanced at Daniel Walker, then quietly took a bite of the chicken drumstick. Her face showed a complex expression, both enjoyment and anguish, as tears inexplicably welled up in the corners of her eyes. Ah, eating a single chicken drumstick has come to this. Little girl, just how much suffering have you endured? Daniel Walker saw the little girl with teary eyes. Although he didn't know what she was thinking, a wave of bittersweet empathy surged in his heart. Thinking back to the past, he too was an orphan. Quietly, he bit on a piece of bamboo shoot, then used both his hands and feet to climb onto the girl's lap, gently leaning into her embrace. The girl noticed his actions and seemed to feel something. She held him close and murmured, "I'm fine, little soup dumpling, thank you for caring. Don't worry, I'll definitely protect you well. When I grow up, I'll make sure you have delicious food and beautiful clothes." Huh. Shouldn't I be the one saying that? I'm the protagonist here, am I not? Hearing the girl's promise, Daniel Walker thought to himself, while instinctively rubbing against her arm as if guided by an unseen force. Chapter 4, What? Being looked down on. The next day, at the crack of dawn, Daniel Walker was awakened by noises nearby before the sun had fully risen. Groggily, he peeked out of his small nest and saw that the girl had already gotten up and finished washing her face. However, just as he thought she was hurrying to take him to the spirit beast hall for a checkup, he realized he was wrong. Dong. 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 3 bell chimes rang from outside. The girl ran over to him, patted his head, and instructed, "Little soup dumpling, today is training day. I have to go to the martial arts hall to train. Be good and stay home, okay? If you're hungry, you can eat bamboo shoots or nibble on some buns. When I'm back, I'll take you to the spirit beast hall for a checkup." After saying that, the girl placed a bowl of leftover cold buns on the table in front of him and hurriedly ran out of the room. Training day? She has to train too? Daniel Walker listened in a daze, yawned, and went back to sleep. This nap lasted all the way until noon. Half a day later, the girl returned from her training, her cheeks flushed. As soon as she entered, she rushed to Daniel Walker's side, picked him up, and dashed outside, muttering nonstop, "Hurry, hurry, hurry. You little lazybones, wake up. I'm taking you to the spirit beast hall now. I finished class a bit late today. If we're any later, the managers at the spirit beast hall will go off for lunch." In the girl's arms, Daniel Walker yawned again and stretched as he woke up. He rubbed his eyes and looked around, noticing the scenery whizzing past until they arrived at a peculiar-looking grand hall. It was peculiar because the square in front of the hall was filled with various animal statues. The statues varied in size, with the largest towering several meters high and the smallest only about 2 feet tall. Their forms were incredibly diverse, ranging from massive rhinos and elephants to tiny, delicate sparrows. Moreover, each statue sat on a pedestal, with intricate inscriptions carved into them, seemingly introducing the creature depicted above. Spirit beasts? It seems like there's quite a variety here. Daniel Walker widened his eyes, staring at the statues, trying to see if there were any of his kind among them, when he suddenly realized that the little girl had already carried him into the grand hall. Helpless, he had no choice but to shift his attention and start observing the situation inside the hall. He wouldn't have known if he hadn't looked, but as soon as he did, he was startled. As it turned out, with just a glance, he discovered a massive black panther inside the hall. This enormous black panther, about the size of a calf, wasn't one of the stone statues outside but a living, breathing creature. It lay sprawled in the middle of the hall, its eyes half closed, its tail tip swaying gently. Around it were a few people dressed in robes, seemingly either checking its health or giving it a massage. It looked thoroughly enjoying itself. The large black panther heard the sound of footsteps at the door and slightly tilted its head to look. With a haughty gaze, it scanned the little girl and Daniel Walker, appearing utterly uninterested in the two small beings, before slowly turning its head back and closing its eyes again. "Damn it! It's looking down on me. You beast! How dare you look down on a national treasure like me?" Seeing the arrogant expression on the Black Panther's face, Daniel Walker felt a surge of irritation. While he was silently grumbling, the little girl had already carried him to one side of the hall, standing before a counter. At this critical moment, the little girl had brought him to one side of the grand hall, standing in front of a counter. The little girl looked at the man with a figure-8-shaped mustache behind the counter and timidly said, "Uncle Victor Reed, I've come for a spirit beast examination." The middle-aged man, seated on a grand chair and fiddling with an abacus, raised his head to look at the little girl, appearing slightly surprised. He squinted at Daniel Walker in her arms, his expression impatient as he said, "Anna Reed, where did you pick up this young spirit beast?" "Anna Reed? So the little girl's name is Anna Reed?" Daniel Walker heard the words of the mustached man and immediately remembered the girl's name. "See, caught it on Peach Mountain." Anna Reed seemed a bit scared of the mustached man and timidly answered. "Caught it on Peach Mountain? Ha ha ha. You mean to tell me you caught a spirit beast on Peach Mountain?" The mustached man laughed as if he'd just heard the funniest joke and mocked her. "Anna Reed, I think you've gone crazy wanting to find a spirit beast. Running up Peach Mountain to look for one? That place has nothing but wild rabbits and pheasants, there aren't even deer there. And yet you claim to have caught a young spirit beast there?" Anna Reed panicked upon hearing this and stammered, trying to explain, Master Uncle, please listen to me. Little Tang Yuan, it really is a spirit beast." Unfortunately, her explanation had no effect. The mustached man suddenly reached out, roughly grabbing Daniel Walker by the scruff of his neck. He lifted him into the air, turning him over and examining him with disdain, sneering coldly, dragging out some mixed-breed bear dog and daring to call it a spirit beast? "Anna Reed, I think you're just trying to cheat the family out of spirit beast rations. Damn it. You're the mixed breed. You're the bear dog. Your whole family is a bunch of mixed-breed bear dogs." Daniel Walker, being roughly hoisted into the air and flipped around, was so furious that he started cursing loudly. But as soon as he opened his mouth, all that came out was a string of ba-ba-ba sounds. Seeing her little bear spirit beast being treated so miserably, Anna Reed's heart ached deeply. She didn't have time to argue whether Daniel Walker was a spirit beast or not. She hurriedly pleaded, "Master Uncle Reed, please don't treat him like this. Please give him back to me." But before she could finish her sentence, the mustached man swung his arm. He directly threw Daniel Walker out the door, sending him flying more than 10 meters away while cursing, "What kind of trash is this? Daring to pretend to be a spirit beast." "Ah!" Anna Reed gasped in horror and, using all her strength, rushed toward the door. Thud. Daniel Walker, still in midair, felt the world spinning around him. Before he could even curse, he suddenly found himself landing in a soft embrace. Phew! Saved! What a capable little girl. Damn it, I almost fell to my death, this national treasure nearly got destroyed. Looking at the small, worried face before him, Daniel Walker felt a wave of relief. But in the very next moment, an inexplicable anger flared up from the bottom of his heart. Because he realized that Anna Reed, in order to catch him, had thrown herself down to act as a human cushion. Now, she was lying flat on the ground, her face filled with pain. Clearly, the fall had been a harsh one. "You damn bastard. Do you believe I'll bite you to death?" Daniel Walker angrily turned his head, glaring at the burly, bearded man who had thrown him out of the grand hall. He shouted furiously while flailing his arms and legs, as if ready to charge forward and fight to the death. Unfortunately, he had forgotten that he was currently just a small bear cub. Not only was he incapable of running over to brawl with the bearded man, but he couldn't even break free from Anna Reed's embrace. "It's all right now, little pudding. We won't take the test anymore. Let's just go home." Anna Reed struggled to get up from the ground, enduring her pain while comforting Daniel Walker. Her expression was resolute as she said, "It doesn't matter whether they acknowledge you or not. You are a spirit beast. You're the best spirit beast in the world." Hearing the girl's determined words, Daniel Walker felt a sudden pang in his heart. "That's right. I am a spirit beast. I must be a spirit beast. And not just any spirit beast, I will be the strongest spirit beast in the world. Anyone who dares bully you today, I swear I'll make them pay back tenfold in the future." He stopped struggling, silently making this vow to himself while beginning to focus on the most pressing matter at hand. Chapter 5, Truly a kindred spirit to this bear. Arriving at the wooden house, Daniel Walker neither gnawed on bamboo shoots nor bothered to climb back to his small nest. He sat dazedly on the doorstep, beginning to ponder what potential he could unlock within himself. First, he thought about how he had transmigrated into a panda, carrying memories of his past life. Then, he considered how he lacked spiritual energy, yet Anna Reed's magic seemed ineffective against him. Past life memories? Magic immunity? Thanks to the soul of a 20-something shut-in, it didn't take him long to figure out what made him different. However, Daniel Walker wasn't interested in exploring his past life memories. Instead, he was fixated on the second point. He vividly remembered that, back on the mountain, Anna Reed had used a binding spell to stop him from following her. Yet, the moment the magic touched him, it dissolved, leaving him with a euphoric sensation akin to being injected with pure energy, making him feel 100 times more invigorated. Could it be that he could absorb magic? With his vast imagination, Daniel Walker quickly pinpointed the key issue and immediately decided to test his theory. He rolled over and crawled across the threshold, scampering over to Anna Reed, who was sitting absent-mindedly on her small bed, and began chirping, "BBB. You have something to say to me?" Anna Reed, seeing his actions, instantly understood his intent. "Yes, yes, yes. Follow me." Daniel Walker continued chirping, "BBB," while leading the way out the door. Seeing him act this way, Anna Reed decisively jumped off the bed and followed him into the yard. When she stepped outside, Daniel Walker stood in the yard, thinking for a moment before coming up with an idea. He used his small claws to scratch a few lines in the dirt, then pointed at himself with his paw. If he couldn't speak, then he'd draw. Anna Reed, observing his strange actions, was filled with curiosity. The little girl bent down to look and saw Daniel Walker drawing intersecting straight lines on the ground, 3 horizontal and 3 vertical. She couldn't help but curiously ask, "What is this?" "Binding technique. The binding technique you overlooked," Daniel Walker anxiously exclaimed, pacing in circles. Unfortunately, even though Anna Reed was intelligent, expecting her to understand what the little bear was trying to convey from a few messy sketches was truly a bit too much. Seeing that the girl didn't immediately grasp his meaning, Daniel Walker had to stop and think further. After a moment, he came up with an idea. "Isn't it just drawing? Then I'll draw more." He decisively plopped down on the ground and, based on the scenario of their chance meeting in the mountains the other day, began carefully sketching on the sand. First, he drew a little bear hanging from a tree branch, abstract style. Next, he drew a small figure walking to the base of the tree. A straight line and 6 slanted lines represented the tree, while 5 small sticks and a circle represented the person. Then he drew the little bear following the small figure. After a quarter of an hour of effort, Anna Reed finally understood Daniel Walker's simple drawings and grasped the meaning he wanted to convey. "You want me to use the binding technique on you?" she asked in surprise. "Yes, yes, yes." Daniel Walker nodded enthusiastically. "But why?" Anna Reed asked, still somewhat puzzled. "Don't ask why, just use it on me." Daniel Walker didn't know how to explain, so he simply bleated me while jumping up and down on the spot. Anna Reed hesitated for a moment before standing up and saying, "All right then. If you say to use it, I'll use it. But my spiritual power is limited, I can only cast it 6 or 7 times. That's enough. Just 2 tries will do." Daniel Walker, realizing she understood him, quickly and excitedly responded. Seeing his overjoyed expression, Anna Reed couldn't help but smile. She straightened her posture, took a deep breath, clasped her hands together in front of her chest, and performed a binding spell similar to the one she had used the day before. Whoosh! Sure enough, a shimmering blue spiritual net descended upon Daniel Walker and disappeared in an instant. At that very moment, a warm surge of spiritual energy flowed through his body, making him shiver in delight. It worked. Feeling the newfound strength coursing through him, Daniel Walker was overjoyed. To demonstrate that he had received power from the spell, he ran to the vegetable garden, found the largest radish, and, acting fierce, bit its leaves and tugged at it with all his might. "Do you mean, absorbing the spell can make you stronger?" Anna Reed, watching his strange actions, guessed with a mix of astonishment and delight. "Smart. As expected of my soulmate." Hearing her words, Daniel Walker enthusiastically nodded. "Is this really possible?" Anna Reed, receiving his affirmative response, looked utterly incredulous. "Little Walker, you don't have spiritual power in your body, but you can absorb the spiritual energy from spells? And then gain strength from it?" "Exactly. That's exactly how it works." Daniel Walker nodded vigorously, then proudly tilted his head back and howled like a wolf. Me. You actually have such a miraculous ability?" Anna Reed was overjoyed. She ran over, hugged Daniel Walker tightly, and began rubbing him while crying tears of happiness. "Who says you're not a spirit beast? You're absolutely the nemesis of spirit beasts. Once you grow a bit bigger, anyone who dares to fight you will just have their spiritual energy drained, and then... bang!" Just as a man and a bear were overjoyed, the small courtyard door suddenly emitted a loud noise. At the very moment when the man and the bear were moved to tears of happiness, the small courtyard door suddenly let out a deep, muffled sound. Daniel Walker and Anna Reed quickly turned their heads to see a group of children, around 10 years old, suddenly storming into the courtyard. Behind them were 7 or 8 various creatures, clearly their contracted spirit beasts. The mischievous kids, upon entering the courtyard, immediately saw Anna Reed and Daniel Walker embracing. One slightly older child, dressed in fine silk, rushed forward to the two and pointed at Daniel Walker, whose fur was a mix of black and white, laughing loudly, "Look, everyone! Isn't this the mixed breed bear that Uncle Victor Reed mentioned? Ha ha ha!" Hearing this, Daniel Walker's anger flared up. But he wasn't angry at the mischievous kids in front of him. Instead, he thought of the mustached man named Victor Reed from the Spirit Beast Hall. That damned scoundrel. It was bad enough that Victor was a heartless man, but to spread stories about him, allowing a group of brats to come and ridicule him? As Daniel seethed in anger, the other kids gathered around. "Anna Reed, you couldn't even afford a spirit beast, so you brought a mixed breed bear to Uncle Reed's place to scam food for spirit beasts. Ha ha ha, are you so hungry that you want to eat spirit beast food to fill your belly? Don't ask why, just use it on me." Daniel Walker didn't know how to explain, so he simply bleated me while jumping up and down on the spot. Anna Reed hesitated for a moment before standing up and saying, "All right then. If you say to use it, I'll use it. But my spiritual power is limited, I can only cast it 6 or 7 times. That's enough. Just 2 tries will do." Daniel Walker, realizing she understood him, quickly and excitedly responded. Seeing his overjoyed expression, Anna Reed couldn't help but smile. She straightened her posture, took a deep breath, clasped her hands together in front of her chest, and performed a binding spell similar to the one she had used the day before. Whoosh! Sure enough, a shimmering blue spiritual net descended upon Daniel Walker and disappeared in an instant. At that very moment, a warm surge of spiritual energy flowed through his body, making him shiver in delight. It worked. Feeling the newfound strength coursing through him, Daniel Walker was overjoyed. To demonstrate that he had received power from the spell, he ran to the vegetable garden, found the largest radish, and, acting fierce, bit its leaves and tugged at it with all his might. "Do you mean, absorbing the spell can make you stronger?" Anna Reed, watching his strange actions, guessed with a mix of astonishment and delight. "Smart. As expected of my soulmate." Hearing her words, Daniel Walker enthusiastically nodded. "Is this really possible?" Anna Reed, receiving his affirmative response, looked utterly incredulous. "Little Walker, you don't have spiritual power in your body, but you can absorb the spiritual energy from spells? And then gain strength from it?" "Exactly. That's exactly how it works." Daniel Walker nodded vigorously, then proudly tilted his head back and howled like a wolf. Me. You actually have such a miraculous ability?" Anna Reed was overjoyed. She ran over, hugged Daniel Walker tightly, and began rubbing him while crying tears of happiness. "Who says you're not a spirit beast? You're absolutely the nemesis of spirit beasts. Once you grow a bit bigger, anyone who dares to fight you will just have their spiritual energy drained, and then... bang!" Just as the man and the bear were overwhelmed with joy, the small courtyard gate suddenly let out a loud noise. At the very moment when the man and the bear were moved to tears of happiness, the gate of the small courtyard suddenly emitted a heavy thud. Daniel Walker and Anna Reed quickly turned their heads to see a group of children, around 10 years old, noisily barging into the courtyard. Behind them were 7 or 8 creatures of various kinds, clearly their contracted spirit beasts. The mischievous kids immediately noticed Anna Reed and Daniel Walker embracing as soon as they entered. One slightly older child, dressed in luxurious silk, took the lead, running up to the two and pointing at the black and white Daniel Walker while laughing loudly. "Look at this, everyone. Isn't this the mixed breed bear that Uncle Victor Reed mentioned? Ha ha ha." Hearing this, Daniel Walker's anger flared up. But he wasn't about to argue with the brats in front of him. Instead, his mind turned to that mustached man, Victor Reed, from the Spirit Beast Hall. What a despicable scoundrel. It was bad enough that he was so heartless, but now he had gone around spreading stories about him, causing these little brats to come and mock him. As Daniel seethed with anger, the other children gathered around. "Anna Reed, if you can't afford a spirit beast, just admit it. But bringing a mixed breed bear to Uncle Reed to scam food for spirit beasts? Ha ha ha, are you so hungry that you want to eat spirit beast food to fill your stomach? Ha ha ha, of course. Look at her, she's so starved she'll eat anything. Next time, don't let her into the dining hall anymore. Just give her spirit beast food, that'll be enough. Isn't that too good for her? Spirit beast food is way more expensive than the buns in the dining hall." Ha ha ha. The kids, like a swarm of bees, surrounded the man and the bear, laughing and jeering loudly. Hearing their mocking laughter, Anna Reed trembled with anger. She held back tears that were threatening to fall, biting her lip as she said, "Get out of here. You're not welcome here. Oh my, the illegitimate child of a traitor dares to act this way? The Reed family has already shown you great mercy by taking you in. And now you dare to chase us off our own turf?" The child in silk sneered with disdain, his arrogant gaze sweeping across the courtyard. Suddenly, something caught his eye, and he exclaimed, "Humph. You dare to secretly grow vegetables in the Reed family estate? Do you think our estate is your personal garden?" With that, the mischievous boy gave a sly wink to his friends and smirked, "Everyone, pull out all her vegetables. Let's not let her tarnish the Reed family's reputation." As soon as he finished speaking, The other children cheered loudly and surged toward the corner of the courtyard like a swarm of bees. They began uprooting the vegetables and tearing down the cucumber trellis. Chapter 6, The Little Bear Dares to Bite Me. Daniel Walker, seeing this, became so furious that he let out an enraged cry. "You little brat! I can't believe you're even more vicious than adults. You truly deserve a beating." He struggled, wanting to leap out and bite someone, but Anna Reed held him tightly in her trembling arms, leaving him completely immobile. Thankfully, heaven seemed to have some justice. Though he couldn't jump out to attack, it didn't mean he wouldn't get an opportunity. The child dressed in fine silk, noticing the little bear in Anna Reed's arms growling, suddenly seemed to have a wicked idea. Without warning, he reached out to grab the bear, as if intending to snatch it away from her. Paralyzed. "You little mutt. How dare you try to grab me?" The moment Daniel Walker saw the boy's hand reaching out, he didn't hesitate and bit down hard. Though he was now just a baby panda, his natural bite force was nothing to scoff at. Combined with his sharp, pointed teeth, he immediately sank them into the boy's hand, leaving it dripping with blood. "Ah!" The silk-clad child screamed in pain, completely caught off guard. He stumbled back a few steps, both terrified and furious, shouting, "You little beast! How dare you bite me? Bleh! Bleh! Bleh!" Daniel Walker sneered at the sight, sticking out his tongue and rolling his eyes, making a mocking face at the boy. Unfortunately, his adorable, playful antics only seemed like the greatest provocation in the eyes of the silk-clad child. "You filthy mutt! Let's see if I don't beat you to death," the child roared. His face twisted with rage as he clenched his fists and charged at Daniel Walker aggressively. But how could Anna Reed just stand by and watch her beloved little spirit beast get attacked? Seeing the child in luxurious clothing charging toward her, the little girl swiftly sidestepped. The child in luxurious clothing grew furious upon seeing this and chased after her. Unfortunately, despite their seemingly high status within the Reed family, their cultivation level was weak. They chased Anna Reed, who was holding a small bear, around the yard for quite some time but couldn't even touch the hem of her clothes. Realizing they couldn't catch Anna Reed, the child felt utterly humiliated. "Run, run, run! Keep running, you little brat!" Overcome with embarrassment, they stopped in their tracks and began casting a spell. However, their talent in spellcasting was no better than their agility. After struggling to form hand seals for what seemed like half a day, they barely managed to release an unstable ice arrow imbued with spiritual energy. Whoosh! The crooked ice arrow shot toward Anna Reed, but she easily dodged it. Out of tricks and feeling completely humiliated, the child in luxurious clothing finally remembered they had allies. They shouted hoarsely, "You fools! What are you standing there for? Catch Anna Reed now! I want to kill her little bear." The 7 or 8 children nearby snapped out of their daze and quickly rushed forward to attack Anna Reed. Though Anna Reed fought back with exceptional talent, the yard was too small, and her opponents outnumbered her. Despite her efforts to evade, she was ultimately caught by the group of children. Thud! Poor Daniel Walker, the little bear, was also thrown to the ground by the children, landing face first with all 4 legs splayed out. "Humph! Anna Reed, you lowly brat!" The child in luxurious clothing sneered triumphantly before turning vicious. "Open your eyes and watch how I kill your little bear." With that, they once again began casting a spell on Daniel Walker. "No! Don't kill little sugar ball!" Anna Reed cried out in horror. She struggled to break free but was tightly restrained by the children her age. Helpless, she could only sob and plead, "Edward Reed, if you want to hit someone, hit me. Don't hurt my spirit beast." "Humph! Now you beg for mercy?" "Too late." Edward Reed, the child in luxurious clothing, sneered coldly. While continuing to cast the spell on Daniel Walker, he gritted his teeth and said, "That little bear dared to bite me. Today, it must die." Whoosh! As soon as his words ended, the spiritual energy arrow in his hand finally took shape, shooting crookedly toward Daniel Walker. Ah! Anna Reed screamed in terror and shut her eyes tightly, unable to bear watching. But to her surprise, after Edward Reed's spiritual arrow was fired, the small yard did not echo with the pitiful cries of the little bear, nor were there cheers from the group of children. Instead, there were a few bursts of giggling. Anxiously, she opened her eyes and saw little Sugar Ball, her adorable little bear, sitting unharmed on the ground. Its shiny black eyes were looking at her, curiously. Huh? Little Sugar Ball was completely fine? Could it be? It actually isn't afraid of magic? Moreover, it even takes the opportunity to absorb spiritual energy? Yes. That must be it. Anna Reed recalled the new discovery earlier with Little Round Ball, feeling a sudden joy in her heart. However, she didn't show it outwardly and maintained a frightened expression. Because she noticed the children around were giggling, while Edward Reed, who had just cast an ice arrow spell on Little Round Ball, looked pale. What are you laughing at? You idiots, I was just trying to scare them first. As expected, Edward Reed's attack failed. He had no idea his magic had been absorbed by Little Round Ball and instead assumed there was an issue with his spell, desperately making excuses. Yes. Brother Edward is amazing, Anna Reed was scared out of her wits. Yeah, killing them right away would be too easy. Scaring them first is better. Look. The little bear is frozen in fear. A group of little kids, quick to learn flattery, eagerly chimed in. Watch closely. Now I'll take this little bear's pathetic life. Edward Reed, encouraged by their praise, became even more arrogant, forming hand seals while speaking smugly. Whoosh! Moments later, another spiritual energy arrow shot out from his hand, wobbling as it flew toward Daniel Walker. Poof! Just like before, the spiritual energy arrow dissolved into nothing upon contact with Daniel Walker, like a puff of air. How satisfying! Daniel Walker shivered with delight, feeling his body brimming with even more energy. Meanwhile, Anna Reed, witnessing the scene, clenched her fists secretly, letting out a sigh of relief in her heart. Brother Edward is incredible. Another fake move. Yes. Pretending to strike, but actually faking it, that's how you achieve the highest level of intimidation. Exactly. This is called catching them off guard, attacking where they least expect it. Brother Edward is so mighty. The group of kids, seeing Edward Reed fail yet again with his move, didn't even wait for him to speak before eagerly coming up with excuses for him. But what surprised them was that this time, Edward Reed's face no longer held the smug expression from before. Instead, he wore a conflicted look, as if he had just swallowed something utterly disgusting. No one knows your struggles better than yourself. Edward Reed was fully aware that he had just put all his strength into releasing a spiritual energy arrow, but when it hit the group of kids in front of him, it didn't even cause so much as a ripple. Could it be ghosts? But under the bright daylight, he was too embarrassed to admit defeat. Gritting his teeth, he could only say, "You're right. I just wanted to scare them until they wet their pants. Watch closely this time, third time's the charm. I'm really going to strike for real now. Brother Edward, you've already shot 3 spiritual energy arrows." That's right, Brother Edward. Isn't your spiritual energy only capable of releasing a maximum of 3 arrows? Yeah. We've never seen you shoot a 4th arrow before. Has your cultivation level improved? The group of kids beside him helpfully reminded him. Chapter 7, Flaming Chicken? Slap. An invisible smack landed on Edward Reed's face, causing the corner of his mouth to twitch. Stupid teammates. Why are you airing my dirty laundry like this? He cursed inwardly, reluctantly pulling out a blue potion from his pocket while trying to maintain a nonchalant demeanor. What do you guys know? Today, I just wanted to test the effects of the spirit gathering elixir, and by the way, try out the power of the spirit energy blade on this bear. Wow. A level 1 spirit gathering elixir. That's premium stuff. As expected from the beloved son of the Hall Master, so generous. Using spirit-gathering elixir to perform techniques that can't usually be executed, Edward is really mad this time. The group of kids stared enviously at the blue potion in Edward Reed's hand, continuing to flatter him. Gulp. Edward Reed couldn't be bothered to waste words on them and directly poured the spirit-gathering elixir into his mouth. As the expensive elixir flowed down his throat, a surge of abundant spiritual energy coursed through his body, compelling him to release it immediately. Slash. Thanks to the spirit-gathering elixir, his spellcasting speed increased significantly. A shimmering green spiritual energy blade materialized above his head, and without hesitation, he pointed it straight at Daniel Walker, who was lying on the ground. Boom. The spell cast with the aid of the elixir was indeed astonishingly powerful. The spiritual energy blade let out a piercing screech as it sliced through the air, striking down on the small bear's head like a lightning bolt. Dust and debris erupted everywhere. Dead. This time, it's definitely dead. Not just dead, obliterated without a trace. The power of the spirit energy blade is truly terrifying. I heard that once you reach the 3rd level of the Yang Heaven realm, you can execute it. I can't wait to see it. The group of bear cubs chattered excitedly as the dust still lingered in the air. Anna Reed, standing among the crowd, felt her heart clench once again at the scene. But moments later, she couldn't help but burst into laughter. As the dust gradually settled, a small black and white figure slowly emerged. It sat there on the ground with its hind legs, its pair of black, shiny eyes staring innocently at the group of bear cubs in front of it. Its expression was utterly naive. Satisfying. So satisfying. Daniel Walker sat in the dirt pit carved out by the spiritual power blade, feeling as refreshed as drinking an ice-cold soda on a scorching June day. Every pore on his body seemed to open up in exhilaration. Just moments ago, the spiritual power blade unleashed by Edward Reed, powered by the spirit-gathering water, provided 10 times more energy than the previous spiritual arrow. In an instant, it made Daniel feel his body brimming with strength. Who would have thought being attacked could have such benefits? This was far more convenient than cultivating on his own. Feeling the advantage, Daniel Walker sprang up from the ground and growled at Edward Reed, who stood dumbfounded. Hit me. Keep hitting me. Me. Thud. Edward Reed, who had assumed his attack was successful, was so terrified upon seeing the little bear unharmed that he fell to the ground. His neck stiffly turned toward the wall beside him as he stammered, Fire. Fire bro, help me out here. Cluck cluck cluck. As soon as the words left his mouth, a large rooster with vibrant feathers flew down from the wall and strutted into the courtyard with an air of arrogance. Daniel Walker followed the rooster's descent with his gaze and noticed that the group of animals that had entered the courtyard earlier with the mischievous bear cubs were now sitting neatly on the wall, coldly observing the ridiculous scene before them. Looking at the direction where the rooster had come down, Daniel Walker finally realized that the animals accompanying the playful cubs earlier were now perched on the wall, watching the drama unfold with icy detachment. Can't beat me yourself, so you're sending out spiritual beasts now, he muttered, glancing curiously at the animals on the wall, before shifting his attention back to the large rooster in front of him. You're a rooster, right? He craned his neck and asked the rooster, whom Edward Reed had called Fire Bro, standing a few steps away. To his surprise, the creature in front of him actually understood his ball-like words. The rooster tilted its head arrogantly, glaring at Daniel Walker. With its wings akimbo, it angrily retorted, You're the rooster. Your whole family are roosters. I am Fire Rooster. Do you even know about the 1 in 10,000 phoenix bloodline? Fire Rooster? A 1 in 10,000 phoenix bloodline? Sounds impressive. Daniel Walker was stunned. Without even questioning why the creature could understand him, he quickly asked, Oh, so you're not a rooster. You're a turkey. Then you must be able to use magic, right? You're the turkey. Your whole family are turkeys. The rooster grew even more furious and shouted, I am Fire Rooster. A born first tier, 5th grade spiritual beast. Of course I know magic. First tier, 5th grade? That sounds powerful. Good, good. That's all I needed to know. Daniel Walker beamed with excitement and quickly said, "Come on, make your move. I can't wait any longer." With that, he imitated the stance of a flamboyant pheasant. First, he stood upright on his short little legs, then placed his tiny front legs akimbo, striking a provocative battle pose. "You little brat. How dare you provoke me?" The golden pheasant grew furious and roared, "Out of respect for the fact that you're also a spirit beast, I was going to spare your life. But since you're so eager to die, I'll grant your wish." Without waiting for Daniel Walker's response, it puffed out its chest, took a deep breath, and spewed a fiery blast straight at him. Whoosh! A stream of orange flame shot out from the golden pheasant's mouth. Daniel Walker, seeing the opponent attack without hesitation, instinctively tried to dodge. However, with his short legs, he couldn't move fast enough, especially while stuck in a dirt pit. As a result, the flames hit him squarely on the head and face. But though the golden pheasant appeared formidable, the flames it unleashed seemed to lack any real destructive power. The orange-red fire engulfed Daniel Walker, but instead of burning him, it only made him feel warm. Strangely enough, the flames carried a surge of spiritual energy. This energy coursed through his body, leaving his cells tingling with an odd sensation. Unexpectedly, this pleasant tingling didn't last long. Because Daniel Walker soon discovered something shocking: the power already brimming within his body, upon absorbing the spiritual energy from the golden pheasant's flames, seemed to activate some kind of hidden switch. Without warning, it condensed into a raging torrent and began surging wildly throughout his body. As this overwhelming power rampaged inside him, he felt excruciating pain all over his body, making him instinctively want to explode in response. Roar! Unable to endure it any longer, Daniel Walker let out a strange roar and charged toward the golden pheasant with his short legs. Bok bok! The golden pheasant, confident that its flames would either incinerate the little bear or at least leave it severely scorched, was utterly stunned to see him unharmed and charging straight at it. There was no time to dodge. Rip! Daniel Walker opened his mouth wide and bit off a chunk of feathers from the golden pheasant's right chest. Bok bok! The golden pheasant let out a panicked squawk and flapped its wings desperately, trying to escape into the air. Unfortunately for the bird, it had underestimated the speed of the little bear in his berserk state. Whoosh! Daniel Walker felt his entire body aching uncomfortably. He spat out the bird feathers from his mouth, his short legs hopping up as he took another bite at the left chest of the pheasant. Rip! Another patch of feathers was bitten off by him. You shameless little bear! I'll kill you! The fiery pheasant was enraged to the point of madness when the 2 spots on its chest were suddenly exposed. It let out a shrill cry in the air and began spewing fire furiously once more. This time, it wasn't just a single burst. Like a flamethrower, it aimed straight at the little bear on the ground and started spraying fire continuously. Chapter 8, Spider, Spit Your Venom at It. Toot toot toot. Brilliant orange flames continuously spewed toward Daniel Walker, engulfing his entire body in a sea of fire. Roar roar roar. As the surging spiritual energy poured into him, he felt the pain in his body ease slightly. He immediately adjusted his posture, spreading his chest wide to embrace the purifying flames. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Thud. Suddenly, the fiery chicken in the air noticed that the little bear below wasn't being roasted to a crisp by its flames. On the contrary, the more it burned, the more energetic the bear became. Losing its balance abruptly, the chicken plummeted headfirst to the ground. Daniel Walker, now feeling much of the pain on his body subsiding, suddenly realized the flames had stopped. Instantly, he looked displeased. He hopped and ran over to the gasping fiery chicken, poking it with his small paw and questioning, "Hey! Why did you stop spitting fire? Didn't you say you'd burn me to death?" Edward Reed, standing nearby, was utterly terrified as he watched his level 5 spirit beast not only fail to kill the little bear, but also fall into its clutches. His face turned pale with fear as he shouted at the group of kids around him, "What are you all standing there for? Quickly, order your spirit beasts to kill it." It must be noted that the flaming brocade chicken was a spirit beast Edward Reed's father had spent a fortune acquiring, and it was likely to stay with him for life. If something happened to it, not only would he lose a powerful ally, but even his father wouldn't forgive him. The group of children snapped out of their daze upon hearing Edward Reed's frantic yelling. "Right, right, right. Brother Jamie, use your wind magic to blow that little bear away. Sister Bat, hurry up and lend a hand. Spider, spit poison on it." They all clamored to command their spirit beasts to join the fight. At that moment, the spirit beasts on the city wall were still stunned by the flaming brocade chicken's slip-up. Hearing the kids' orders, they reluctantly charged forward despite their hesitation. After all, as spirit beasts, once they signed a contract with humans, everything from food and shelter to safety was provided by them. Retreating in battle would be utterly disgraceful. Daniel Walker, hearing the kids summoning their spirit beasts to attack him, couldn't contain his excitement. "Come on! Come on! All of you, come at me!" To provoke his opponent, he puckered his lips and screamed at the top of his lungs, while raising a claw to pluck a tuft of vibrant tail feathers from the fire chicken's rear, waving it high in the air like a flag. Cluck cluck cluck. The fire chicken, already exhausted from spewing flames, let out a pitiful cry when its prized, beautiful tail feathers were snatched, then promptly rolled its eyes and fainted. A beast can be killed, but it cannot be humiliated. Brother Chicken has already admitted defeat, and yet you still pluck its feathers. Brothers, avenge Brother Chicken. The spirit beasts on the wall, witnessing Daniel Walker blatantly abusing a prisoner in front of everyone, immediately roared with fury and charged forward to attack. In the blink of an eye, the previously peaceful courtyard turned into a chaotic battlefield of flying feathers and fleeing animals. Soundwave attacks. Poison mist assaults. Earth element magic. Water element magic. The spirit beasts unleashed their full power, throwing their lifebound spells at the detestable little bear on the ground as if sparing no expense. Boom boom boom. Smack smack smack. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The small courtyard was in utter chaos. After exactly 5 minutes, the spirit beasts, nearly drained of their spiritual energy, finally stopped. They collapsed in disarray across the corners of the courtyard, their eyes filled with hatred as they glared at the dusty center, as though wishing they could see that shameless little bear pulverized into ashes right then and there. However, cruel reality soon told them otherwise. A national treasure is not so easily destroyed. As the dust gradually settled, a cute little bear reappeared in the same spot. Although its entire body was covered in dirt, it seemed slightly larger than before, and it exuded an abundant life force, clearly showing no signs of death. Ha ha! What's more, as soon as the smoke cleared, the little bear began taunting again. "Why did you stop? Come on, hit me. Keep hitting me. Didn't you say you'd beat me to death?" The devilish taunts echoed in the ears of the spirit beasts, making them tremble uncontrollably. This was too monstrous. What on earth was this black and white little panda? To think it directly ignored our combined attack. Could it be a 9th grade innate spirit beast? Moreover, an extremely rare type? Or perhaps it's not a 1st grade spirit beast at all, but a high-grade spirit beast from an advanced realm pretending to be weak to deceive others? Terrifying thoughts simultaneously surfaced in the minds of the spirit beasts. They quickly and stealthily approached the children they had formed contracts with, desperately trying to warn them in every way possible that the little bear in front of them was absolutely untouchable. Daniel Walker noticed the spirit beasts and the children looking at him with frightened faces, avoiding him at all costs. He couldn't help but feel slightly disappointed. However, he understood that these kids, who weren't even old enough to grow proper facial hair, and their spirit beasts were clearly still in their immature stages. Expecting them to continuously cast spells on him was unrealistic. So, after a brief moment of thought, he came up with an idea. Beep beep beep. He called out twice to Anna Reed, who had returned to his side, signaling for her to come closer. Then, decisively, he addressed the spirit beasts. Tell your little masters that if they dare to come here and cause trouble again, don't blame me for being merciless. Meow meow meow. He called out twice to Anna Reed, who had regained her composure, signaling for her to approach him. Then, firmly, he told the spirit beasts, tell those mischievous cubs of yours that if they dare to come here and stir up trouble again, I won't hold back. Yes, yes, yes. Understood, understood. The spirit beasts, trembling all over, nodded frantically. Even the turkey with a bare chest and missing tail feathers hurriedly responded in fear. Also, damages must be compensated for. That's basic courtesy. Daniel Walker watched as Anna Reed happily ran over to him, affectionately hugging his leg. He then raised one small paw and pointed at the vegetables in the corner. Cabbage is 5 silver coins per head. Radishes are 10 silver coins each. Cucumbers are 100 silver coins per vine. Relay this to your masters. Previously, he had heard Anna Reed mention that silver could be used to buy bamboo shoots for him, but he had no idea how much silver was worth, so he randomly set the prices. Pfft. Who would have thought that after hearing the translation from the spirit beasts, the group of kids would immediately spit blood? 5 taels of silver can buy an entire cart of vegetables. 10 taels of silver could get you ginseng. 100 taels of silver for a single cucumber vine? If he's not outright robbing, then what is he doing? The kids were both shocked and furious, muttering under their breath. The mischievous children whispered among themselves, astonished and angry. Seeing this, Daniel Walker's head was filled with black lines. He was just about to reduce the compensation amount when he suddenly noticed that someone, or rather, some spirit beasts, had already solved the problem for him. Shut up. What's with all the whining? If you're told to fork over the money, then fork it over. Idiots. Do you want to live or not? Money is just a worldly possession. What's there to hesitate about over a few dozen taels of silver? The spirit beasts present didn't wait for Daniel Walker to speak and immediately started scolding their young masters in low voices. Hearing the grumbling from the spirit beasts, Daniel Walker felt secretly delighted, but he maintained a stern expression and said harshly, tell them this. If they don't want to pay, that's fine. They just have to stay and replant the vegetables properly. Once I confirm they're alive and well, I'll let them go. The spirit beasts were momentarily stunned upon hearing this, but they quickly conveyed his words to the kids. Extortion. This is outright extortion. Edward Reed, the leader of the group, exploded in rage after hearing the translation from the fire chicken. He angrily pointed at the broken vegetables in the corner and shouted, how are we supposed to make these grow again? Can't make them grow? Then stay here and keep beating me up. If you can manage to kill me, I'll let you go home. Daniel Walker, hearing this, found it exactly to his liking. He grinned mischievously, his face full of mock innocence. Chapter 9, Hurry up and hand over the money. Pfft. The group of spirit beasts present collectively spat out blood upon hearing this. They had seen shamelessness before, but never to this level. Even they, spirit beasts born with innate magical talents, couldn't defeat him, yet he had the audacity to demand a bunch of kids who had just started cultivating to kill him? What are you laughing at? What's so funny? Daniel Walker, seeing the group of kids in front of him chattering away without handing over the money, lost his patience. He suddenly turned to the spirit beasts and said, earlier, you all attacked me for half a day, and I didn't even fight back. If you don't want to leave, then no. Stop. We'll give you the money. We'll give you the money right away. The group of spirit beasts, hearing that he was about to act again, trembled in fear and quickly turned to threaten the kids beside them. Hurry up and hand over the money. Do you still want to live or not? Money is just a worldly possession. What do kids like you even need money for? The kids, though despising Daniel Walker's extortion, had a completely different attitude when it came to their spirit beasts. They all understood that their contract spirit beasts could very well be with them for life. Furthermore, spirit beasts, due to their innate talents, were often one level stronger than their masters, making them their greatest support in the future. If they didn't maintain a good relationship with their spirit beasts, they would ultimately be the ones to suffer. So, seeing their spirit beasts demanding money, the kids, though reluctant, obediently handed it over. I have 20 tails, I have 18 tails, I only have 5 tails. In just a short moment, over 200 taels of silver were piled up in the courtyard. The one who contributed the most was Edward Reed, the instigator of the trouble. This kid surprisingly handed over as much as 120 taels. Anna Reed, though not understanding what Daniel Walker was saying to the spirit beasts, could tell from the scene before her that he was extorting them. Feeling uneasy, she said, "Little dumpling, this doesn't seem right." Me. Daniel Walker didn't explain to her, but instead made a few cute noises, then glared at the spirit beasts who had nothing left to give. Pointing his small claw toward the door, he commanded, "Scram!" Whoosh! 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 The spirit beasts, as if granted amnesty, immediately grabbed their young ones and fled in disarray. Seeing Golden Pheasant panting heavily and Edward Reed limping at the back of the group, Daniel Walker suddenly snorted, "You two, stop right there." Golden Pheasant, with all its feathers plucked and trembling in fear, instinctively covered the few tail feathers remaining on its rear and stammered, "Mighty Lord. Boss. We've given you the money already. What more do you want?" "Nothing more." Daniel Walker grinned mischievously before sternly saying, "Just go back and tell them not to spread any rumors about me. If anyone dares to leak anything, don't blame me for coming after them." Golden Pheasant heaved a sigh of relief upon hearing this and repeatedly nodded, "Yes, yes, yes." With that, it dragged Edward Reed and bolted away. An unexpected conflict ended up earning Daniel Walker and Anna Reed over 200 taels of silver. But that wasn't Daniel Walker's biggest gain. His greatest harvest came from the spells he had absorbed. Earlier, under the magical attacks of 7 or 8 spirit beasts, not only did he easily endure the pain that racked his entire body, but he was also astonished to discover that his body seemed to have grown larger. Moreover, his strength had multiplied several times over. For example, at first, he couldn't even pull out a radish, but now he could effortlessly uproot a bamboo stalk as thick as a thumb. Considering his cat-sized body, he was now practically a little powerhouse of strength. Additionally, he realized his speed had increased significantly. Previously, he could only waddle clumsily, but now he could run as swift as the wind. Anna Reed brought the silver into the house for safekeeping. Turning around, she saw a small black and white fluff ball darting around the courtyard. She couldn't help but laugh and say, "All right, little dumpling, stop running around in the yard. Once I clean up, I'll give you a bath, and then we'll head to the Literary Arts Hall to find Grandpa Gio and buy a speech-enabling talisman. Then you'll be able to talk." "What is a speech-enabling talisman?" Daniel Walker excitedly ran up to the little girl, curiously staring at her. Anna Reed immediately understood his expression and explained, "The speech-enabling talisman is a charm specifically designed for spirit beasts. Once you use it, you'll be able to talk, just like those spirit beasts earlier. Normally, you'd receive one for free after passing the examination at the Spirit Beast Hall, but since you didn't go through the test, I had to buy one for you. So that's how it is." Hearing this, Daniel Walker nodded and thought to himself, no wonder those spirit beasts could speak human language, it's all thanks to a plugin. At the same time, he felt a bit annoyed. Because he suddenly remembered the detestable bearded man at the Spirit Beast Hall. What a scoundrel. Something that should have been free ended up costing Anna money because of him. "One day, I'll make you pay for this." An hour later. Freshly cleaned and fragrant, Daniel Walker was cradled in Anna Reed's arms as they made their way to the Literary Arts Hall she had mentioned. To his surprise, the people at the Literary Arts Hall were much easier to deal with than the other members of the Reed family he had encountered. Not only did everyone politely address Anna Reed as Miss Anna, but some even took the initiative to guide her to find Granduncle. Before long, the little girl and the bear arrived at the study behind the Literary Arts Hall, where they met an elderly man engrossed in a book. The old man had a thin frame, white hair and beard, and a kind expression that exuded the demeanor of a sage-like immortal. Seeing Anna Reed carrying a small bear, he smiled kindly, set his book down, and asked, directly, "Anna, you're not supposed to have class today. What brings you here?" "Elliot Reed, sir, I'd like to purchase a speech-enabling talisman for my little bear," Anna Reed said respectfully, addressing him as sir instead of calling him Granduncle directly. "There's no class right now, so you may just call me Granduncle," Elliot Reed said with a smile. He glanced at the small bear in her arms and asked, "Anna, is this your spirit beast? Why can't I sense any spiritual energy from it?" "It really is a spirit beast." Anna Reed nodded firmly and said confidently, "If you don't believe me, Granduncle, you can try casting a small spell on it." "Cast a spell on it? Are you sure?" The elder looked puzzled. "Yes." Hee. Anna Reed responded without hesitation, placing Daniel Walker on the study table. Standing firmly on all fours, Daniel Walker widened his eyes to scrutinize the elder in front of him. Seeing the man's doubtful expression, Daniel decided to take the initiative. "Bleh. Come on, hit me if you dare." He plopped down on the table, stuck out his tongue to make a face, and waved a small paw provocatively at the elder. "Huh. How amusing." The elder was both astonished and delighted at the bear's cheeky behavior. "This little creature can understand us? It seems it truly is a spirit beast. And it's so young yet already knows how to cooperate with you. What remarkable intelligence." "Of course. This is a national treasure. It even holds the soul of an otaku." Chapter 10, My Little Bear is a Bit Silly. Daniel Walker felt a surge of pride as he heard the elder's evaluation. He decisively used one small paw to point at the elder, then gestured a few times with both paws in front of his chest, and finally pointed to his own nose with one paw. "You want me to cast a spell on you?" The elder chuckled upon seeing this and nodded, saying, "All right. As you wish." As soon as he finished speaking, the elder didn't bother forming any hand seals. He simply raised his hand and directly cast a binding spell. Whoosh! Just like before, the binding net woven from spiritual energy disintegrated the moment it touched Daniel Walker, dissipating like a puff of air. Bliss! Feeling the dense spiritual energy pouring into his body, Daniel Walker trembled with delight. Compared to Anna Reed's binding spell, the elder Elliot Reed's casually cast spell was far more potent, with spiritual energy dozens of times richer. It felt like enjoying a gourmet feast. "What?" The elder was visibly shocked as he watched his spell vanish instantly. His eyes widened as he stared at the small black and white bear before him, disbelief evident in his expression. "Impossible. My binding spell can restrain even a first-grade, fifth-level spirit beast, yet it's completely ineffective against you? Anna, where did you find this spirit beast?" I found him on Peach Mountain yesterday," Anna Reed replied cheerfully. "Peach Mountain? Isn't that the desolate mountain west of the city?" The elder's doubts deepened upon hearing this. He placed one hand on Daniel Walker's head and remarked, "I've lived for 120 years and never heard of a spirit beast from there. And such a peculiar one at that, no spiritual energy on its body, yet it's immune to my spells? 120 years old? Still so vigorous? What a monster." Daniel Walker was slightly surprised upon hearing this, but seeing the elder treating Anna Reed so kindly, he obediently sat at the study table, letting the old man pat his head. "Grandpa Nine, I'm telling the truth," Anna Reed softly replied, sensing the elder seemed doubtful of her words. "I believe you. I believe you." The elder quickly nodded, standing up to retrieve a talisman from the bookshelf while reassuring her, "Anna is a good child. Whatever you say, I believe." Seeing the elder trust her, Anna Reed placed 100 silver coins she had prepared on the table. But just as she was about to take the talisman from his hands, the elder shook his head. No need to pay me. It's just a little speech-enabling talisman, not worth much. The old man chuckled, holding the talisman in his hand and murmuring something under his breath. Suddenly, the talisman began to glow. Activate. With a soft command, the elder waved his hand and directly placed the talisman onto Daniel Walker's forehead. Sizzle, sizzle. As soon as the talisman touched his forehead, Daniel Walker felt an influx of information flooding his mind. Me. La la la. Hi. Ha ha ha. He pursed his lips to test and discovered he could now speak human language. Overjoyed, he jumped up and shouted at the elder, Hit me. Hit me again. Use your magic to hit me more. The intense binding spell from earlier had benefited him immensely, and now he was eager for the elder to cast more spells on him. Recalling how he was previously surrounded and attacked by a group of spirit beasts in the courtyard, Daniel felt as though his strength had suddenly advanced by a level. Now, with a powerful old monster standing before him, he certainly didn't want to miss this opportunity. Pfft! Anna Reed, standing nearby, couldn't help but laugh when she saw her little bear, having just learned human speech, using its immature voice to provoke the elder. She quickly scooped him into her arms and said, Grandpa Nine, please don't mind him. My little bear is a bit silly. Ridiculous. I'm not silly. I'm simply seizing every opportunity to strengthen myself. Daniel Walker felt speechless and secretly grumbled in his heart. How amusing. The experienced elder, of course, wouldn't take offense at a young bear's antics. He chuckled, shaking his head before asking Anna Reed, Anna, have you taken him to the Spirit Beast Hall for an assessment? Anna's face darkened. While gently stroking the little bear in her arms, she replied angrily, I did. Uncle Victor Reed at the Spirit Beast Hall said it has no spiritual energy, called it a mixed-breed cub, and threw it out. Absurd. Foolish. Blind as a bat. The elder immediately cursed 3 times upon hearing this. He then looked at Anna and instructed, I can't discern what grade this little bear is, but it's definitely no ordinary spirit beast. Anna, you must take good care of him when you return. Don't let anyone with ill intentions steal him. I'll research the records and let you know his origins later. Thank you, Grandpa Nine. Anna Reed obediently expressed her gratitude and turned to leave. Wait a moment. Anna, take the silver back with you. Your life is already tough, and now you have a spirit beast to care for. You'll need the money for many things in the future. The elder pointed at the silver on the table, squinting at Daniel Walker as if deep in thought, and said, a black and white spirit bear, truly something unheard of. Anna Reed followed the elder's advice and was about to refuse when she suddenly heard a childish voice coming from her chest. Are you all stupid? If you have questions, why not just ask me directly? I never said I wouldn't let you know. Daniel Walker popped his head out from her chest, waving his tiny claws as he spoke. Hearing his casual and impertinent tone, Anna Reed's face flushed red. She was about to scold him when the elder beside her couldn't hold back and spoke first. Yes, it's my mistake. The elder didn't seem to mind Daniel Walker's lack of respect and chuckled like a sly old fox. Little one, do you know what kind of spirit beast you are? I am. Daniel Walker rolled his eyes, thinking to himself that this old man seemed quite capable, and he couldn't let him take advantage so easily. Quickly changing his tone, he said, who I am isn't important for now. Let's discuss terms first. Discuss terms? The elder was slightly surprised, but soon laughed and said, all right. Tell me your conditions. My condition is, you can ask me anything. But for every question you ask, you must hit me with a spell. Daniel Walker declared without hesitation, then added, oh, and you can't repeat the same spell. Haha. Such a condition? The elder couldn't help but laugh at Daniel's bold demand to get hit. That's no problem. As long as you can endure it, I'll hit you however you want. Then it's a deal. Daniel Walker nodded in satisfaction and added, let me clarify, if you run out of spells and still can't knock me down, you'll have to fulfill one of my conditions. Deal. The elder replied with full confidence. Chapter 11, Being able to speak human language is truly convenient. Half an hour later. The old master, who had been brimming with confidence earlier, now lay weakly slumped in his chair. He looked at the small panda cub bouncing around wildly on the study desk and spoke, all right, little dumpling, tell me, what's your additional condition? After being tormented for half a day, the old master had only managed to learn that the little creature before him was a type of spiritual beast, called a panda. In its homeland, a mystical country, it was revered by its people as a national treasure. Beyond that, he couldn't extract any other useful information. This was because most of the tricky questions he posed were met with the same response from the panda cub named Little Dumpling, I don't know. Moreover, its reasoning for not knowing was surprisingly convincing. It claimed to be just a few months old, and apart from understanding its own identity and origins, it didn't have much grasp of anything else either. Thus, the old master was left speechless, unsure whether the creature was playing tricks on him or genuinely clueless. He had no choice but to fulfill the agreement and cast every spell he knew on it, one by one, until he had exhausted his entire repertoire. Even though the old master had restrained himself while casting, performing dozens of spells in succession left him utterly drained. My condition is simple. Daniel Walker, feeling his strength greatly enhanced, excitedly hopped around on the desk and boldly declared, Old Master, I can see you're very fond of Anna. Why don't you take her as your disciple? In truth, this idea had been on his mind from the very beginning. However, as soon as he said it, the atmosphere in the study turned icy cold. The old master, who had been slouching in his chair moments ago, suddenly sat up straight. His gaze shifted complicatedly between Anna Reed and the strange young beast on the desk, an entity entirely immune to his magic. His expression was both conflicted and heavy. Anna Reed, startled and panicked, quickly shook her head and exclaimed, No, no. I can't learn magic from Uncle Nine. It would harm him. Daniel Walker, confused, stopped his jumping and asked, Why not? Because. Anna Reed's eyes reddened as she stammered, unable to form a coherent response. Because of Anna's father. The old patriarch continued, motioning for Anna Reed to come closer while looking at Daniel Walker. Little Dumpling, has Anna ever told you about her background? No, she hasn't. Is there something I should know? Daniel Walker shook his head curiously. Then let me tell you on her behalf. Since you've decided to form a soul bond with her, it's better to know some things sooner rather than later. The old patriarch gently patted Anna Reed's shoulder as she stood beside him and began to explain. Anna's father is named Sebastian Reed. Sebastian was once a cultivation prodigy among the younger generation of the Reed family, with boundless potential. But later, he met Anna's mother. Daniel Walker sat silently at the table, attentively listening as the old patriarch spoke. A moment later, he finally understood why Anna Reed was ostracized by the Reed family and subjected to bullying by its other members. It turned out that years ago, Anna's father, Sebastian Reed, had defied the family's orders by refusing an arranged marriage with the daughter of another cultivation family. Instead, he married Anna's mother, who came from a humble background. As a result, he was severely punished by the family and stripped of all his rights within the Reed family. Later, Anna's mother unexpectedly passed away due to illness, and Sebastian Reed, devastated by the loss, disappeared without a trace, leaving Anna Reed alone. If it weren't for certain members of the Reed family who sympathized with Sebastian and took the risk of advocating for Anna's adoption, she might have starved to death on the streets long ago. Even so, after being taken in, Anna Reed was still regarded by most of the Reed family as the child of a traitor who disobeyed the clan's orders. Not only was she unwelcome, but she was also frequently bullied. So that's how it is. Daniel Walker exclaimed indignantly after hearing the old patriarch's story. Why should children bear the consequences of adults' mistakes? Besides, what's wrong with Anna's father pursuing true love? The Reed family is truly unreasonable. Cough, cough, cough. The old patriarch coughed a few times awkwardly upon hearing this and said, well, let's not generalize too much. Oh. I forgot, my apologies. Daniel Walker suddenly realized his mistake and quickly softened his tone, playfully apologizing. I forgot that Grandpa Ninth is also part of the Reed family. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Grandpa Ninth is a good person, those bad people can't compare to you. After hearing the old patriarch's account, Daniel was certain that the old man was one of those who had advocated for Anna's adoption back then. Feeling remorseful, he sincerely expressed his apologies. Seeing Little Dumpling's earnest attitude, the old patriarch decided not to hold it against him and continued explaining sternly, that's why taking Anna as a disciple faced significant opposition within the family. Also, teaching cultivation techniques is the responsibility of a martial arts hall. Our literary arts hall is only allowed to teach etiquette, literature, and skills like talisman making and alchemy. We absolutely cannot overstep our boundaries. Literary arts hall? Martial arts hall? Spirit beast hall? Daniel Walker recalled how some kids earlier had mentioned that Edward Reed's father was the hall master of something, and he couldn't help but connect the dots in his mind. It seemed that even within the family, there were multiple divisions. Clearly, the Reed family was far from simple. He blinked his dark eyes at the old patriarch and said gratefully, thank you, Grandpa Ninth, for your guidance. Then we'll set aside the matter of taking Anna as a disciple, for now. Anna and I will think of another way. Go on, go on. In a few days, the Literary Arts Hall will begin its term. You and Anna should come, and we'll discuss things further then. The old patriarch nodded in satisfaction, his eyes gleaming, as if he were holding back from outright saying, I still need to study you more. Of course. Of course. Grandpa Ninth, if you have any questions then, feel free to ask me. Daniel Walker responded cheerfully, adding, the same conditions as before. How convenient it is to know how to talk to people. Daniel Walker and Anna Reed, upon returning to the small courtyard, immediately squatted down and began their gossip session. Compared to Anna's curiosity about Little Dumpling's origins, Daniel Walker clearly had far more doubts and questions about the world before him. As for Anna Reed, she felt no resentment whatsoever toward the adorable little bear with its tender voice. On the contrary, after years of living alone and being shunned by others, she suddenly found a spiritual companion wholeheartedly devoted to her, and she had so much to share. Thus, over the next 2 days, apart from practicing martial arts and fetching meals, Anna spent all her time glued to Little Dumpling. She even held it while sleeping, murmuring in her dreams. While the bond between the girl and the bear deepened rapidly, Daniel Walker had already grasped the basic structure of this world. To his surprise, according to Anna Reed, the cultivation continent they were on was merely the lowest level of a place called the Nine Heavens Realm. The Nine Heavens Realm is divided into 9 layers. Beyond the first heaven, Yang Heaven Realm, where they currently reside, there is the second heaven, Flame Heaven Realm, the third heaven, Stellar Heaven Realm, the fourth heaven, Vast Heaven Realm, and so on, up to the highest 9th heaven, Sovereign Heaven Realm. Between the layers of the 9 heavens realm are bridges called celestial gates that connect them. From the first heaven, Yang Heaven Realm to the second heaven, Flame Heaven Realm, there are 9 celestial gates. From the second heaven to the third heaven, Stellar Heaven Realm, there are 8 celestial gates, and so forth. To cross a celestial gate and ascend to the next layer, cultivators must endure a lightning tribulation unleashed by the celestial gate. This process is known as the Ascension Gate. According to Anna Reed, 8 or 9 out of 10 who attempt the Ascension Gate are reduced to ashes under the lightning tribulation. Despite the dangers of the Ascension Gate, top-tier cultivators from various realms flock to it. The reason is simple, each realm has limits on cultivation levels and lifespan. For example, in the first heaven, Yang Heaven Realm, the highest cultivation level is Yang Heaven Realm 9th level, and the maximum lifespan is capped at 200 years. Cultivators in the Yang Heaven realm who wish to break through to the higher Flame Heaven realm and extend their lifespan must go through the Ascension Gate. As long as they successfully survive the Celestial Gate's lightning tribulation, Yang Heaven realm cultivators can easily achieve breakthroughs in the Second Heaven, Flame Heaven realm, extending their lifespan from 200 to 500 years. This is because the higher the heavenly realm, the denser the spiritual energy within. Higher-level realms not only boast spiritual energy 10 times richer than the lower ones, but also produce higher-grade spiritual herbs and spirit stones. For instance, first-grade spiritual herbs, which are incredibly valuable in the First Heaven, Yang Heaven realm, grow abundantly in the Second Heaven, Flame Heaven realm. Moreover, the medicinal efficacy of second-grade spiritual herbs found in the Flame Heaven realm is 100 times greater than that of first-grade herbs. Thus, whether to achieve greater cultivation or to extend their lifespan, cultivators in the lower realms, when reaching a bottleneck in their practice or nearing the end of their lifespan, will relentlessly strive toward the Celestial Gate. Chapter 12, Small and Powerless. Daniel Walker rolled his eyes. It seemed he absolutely had to find a way to reach this Celestial Gate, otherwise, wouldn't this trip be a complete waste? Anna Reed, though always diligent in her cultivation, had access to resources vastly different from those of other disciples in her family clan. Anna, don't tell me you've been learning everything on your own? Not entirely. The family clan's Marshall Hall holds an open lecture every 10 days. Any disciples of the Reed family or outsiders who haven't yet taken a master within the residence can attend. That's when I go to learn. Anna Reed's face revealed a sense of satisfaction, which made Daniel Walker feel a pang of sympathy for the girl. But what use were public lectures? They could only cover the basics at most. That said, Daniel wasn't entirely familiar with the cultivation practices of this world. What Anna Reed knew seemed fragmented. Can spirit beasts attend as well? Daniel Walker blinked curiously as he asked. Yes, they can. At that time, there will be a designated area for spirit beasts, which also serves as a place for them to spar, Anna replied. Daniel Walker's eyes lit up. Sparring? Now that sounded interesting. This was far more exciting than attending lectures. The next day, while Anna Reed went to the Literary Arts Hall to study, Daniel Walker sought out L.A.T. Reed. Ninth grandfather, do you remember me? Daniel Walker greeted with a playful bow. But with his round figure, he looked more like he was acting coy. What's with you being so well-behaved today? L.A.T. Reed stroked his beard, his gaze filled with amusement. Hee, isn't it because I've been thinking about continuing our conversation from last time? Daniel Walker grinned, showing no hint of embarrassment. He knew L.A.T. Reed would understand his intentions. What conversation? Don't think I'll use magic to exchange questions with you again. L.A.T. Reed glared at him, his beard puffing slightly. Last time, the old man had been utterly exhausted. At his age, this little rascal still didn't know how to respect his elders. Well, it's nothing much. I just want to test myself and see what level of attacks I can withstand, Daniel Walker said with an innocent, wide-eyed expression. L.A.T. Reed burst into laughter at his words, though curiosity flickered in his eyes. Well, it's not entirely impossible, thank you, Ninth Grandpa. Ninth Grandpa is the best grandpa ever. Daniel Walker interrupted before he could finish his sentence, eagerly stepping forward to massage his back. However, Daniel used a bit too much force, not knowing the appropriate strength to apply. As soon as he acted, a crack sound was heard, and L.A.T. Reed's expression immediately turned quite peculiar. Embarrassed, Daniel Walker quickly pulled back his hands, curling himself up into a small ball. Small, pitiful, and helpless. L.A.T. Reed took a sharp breath, his beard bristling in anger. But seeing the trembling, adorable little fluffball before him, the heart of the old man, who had always been fond of children, softened. He could only glare at Daniel, before channeling his spiritual energy, to heal the minor injury. All done. L.A.T. Reed said, glancing at Daniel Walker, who was still curled up into a ball, his innocent, teary eyes looking up at him. Annoyed but amused, he gave Daniel a light pat. Get ready. I'll show you how it's done. Daniel Walker grinned widely and immediately sat upright, obediently watching Elliot read. Elliot Reed's face showed a moment of helplessness, but he quickly began to cast his spell. After a while of experimenting, Elliot Reed wiped the sweat from his forehead, looking at Daniel Walker with a hint of astonishment. How did it go? Daniel Walker, beaming with excitement, was more concerned about the result. Elliot Reed opened and closed his mouth a few times, before finally shaking his head slightly. It's hard to say. What? Daniel Walker tensed up instantly. Elliot Reed looked at Daniel's wide, round eyes and chuckled. You tell me first, why the sudden urge to check? Don't tell me you're just being overly cautious about potential dangers. This brat wasn't the type to worry unnecessarily. Hee hee. Daniel Walker stuck out his tongue sheepishly and explained his reasoning. Elliot Reed quickly realized that Daniel wanted to stir up trouble in the spirit beast zone of the open class at martial arts hall. Speechless, he stared at the boy. If you're just going there, it should be fine. Don't worry. The people in the open class aren't very high level, and the spirit beasts are only slightly stronger than their counterparts. Most are below level 6. You're almost at level 6 now, so you won't get hurt. Even spellcasters at level 7 or 8 shouldn't be a big concern for you. It's just that. Just what? You simply lack innate talent and rely solely on your physical body to attack. It's difficult to have a significant impact on spirit beasts this way. However, as long as you don't wrestle with spirit beasts above level 6, there shouldn't be a major problem. Daniel Walker was a bit worried. He was practically just a human punching bag. Thus, he couldn't afford to fight spirit beasts head-on. The open lecture at the martial arts hall was bustling with excitement. Anna Reed couldn't resist Daniel Walker's incessant pleading and eventually brought him there. Hand over the spirit beast, a disciple of the Reed family standing at the entrance extended his hand and said coldly. Why should I? Daniel Walker glared at him, thinking the man wanted to bully Anna Reed. Anna Reed quickly explained, he's the one taking you to the spirit beast field. Then she added in a hushed tone, he's very skilled, don't provoke him. Ah. Daniel Walker awkwardly retracted his hand. The Reed family disciple cast a disdainful glance at them, too lazy to say another word. Without any courtesy, he took Daniel Walker and left. Daniel Walker felt an urge to bite the man, but held back for Anna Reed's sake. The spirit beast field was already filled with many spirit beasts of various shapes and sizes. Get in. The Reed family disciple unceremoniously threw him inside. Damn it. Caught off guard, Daniel Walker was flung out. Lacking any magical abilities, he could only trace a graceful arc through the air before crashing to the ground. He rolled far away like a fluffy ball, finally stopping when he bumped into a tree. The chattering spirit beasts suddenly fell silent, staring at the black and white fluffy ball that sat up in a daze. They blinked in unison before bursting into mocking laughter. What is that thing? Haha, is he supposed to be a spirit beast? Here to make us laugh? What kind of spirit beast is this? Looks like a dog. Bah, our clan doesn't have weaklings like that. Weakling? What did you say? Do you want to die? Humph. If you've got the guts, come at me. Daniel Walker had just recovered from the collision. Hearing their words, his eyes suddenly darted around twice. Among the spirit beasts, the flame-feathered chicken quietly glanced at the fluffy, silly-looking creature and cautiously stepped back. Accidentally bumping into another spirit beast, the two exchanged a glance but said nothing. They both had been ruled by that fluffy creature before. Why is that one here? No idea, but we should probably keep our distance. Hey, why aren't you saying anything? What species are you? Speak up. A proud turquoise bird glared at him. Daniel Walker scanned his surroundings, noticing that this bird seemed to hold a relatively high status. Its aura was also stronger than the other spirit beasts. His mind quickly calculated. It looks like this one's the leader, but I can't just rush in and provoke it. What if the other beasts will play along with me afterward? Look at its dumbfounded expression. It must be the same species as that dog over there, a multicolored rooster remarked, shaking its feathers. The nearby spirit jackal hadn't even had a chance to argue when a childish voice rang out, "Who are you calling a dog? I am far too noble to be compared to some lowly house-guarding mutt." Chapter 13, Teasing, Teasing, Teasing. What did you say? The wild dog's eyes immediately flashed with malice as it glared at him. Daniel Walker, however, refused to back down and stared right back. Truth be told, in terms of size, this spirit-infused wild dog was a whole size bigger than him, especially since he looked like nothing more than a fluffy ball with no offensive capabilities. Tisk, tisk. Daniel Walker shook his head, giving it a look of pity. So young and already deaf, how tragic. Say that again. The wild dog arched its back, looking ready to pounce. The surrounding spirit beasts all watched with interest, their eyes gleaming with the thrill of an unfolding drama. They were curious to see what this round little creature was truly made of. So, you really are deaf? Daniel Walker clicked his tongue again, shaking his head in mock sympathy. You're asking for it. The wild dog lunged forward, unleashing a piercing sonic attack from its mouth. Several spirit beasts nearby instinctively stepped back. This sonic wave was a type of innate magical ability. Daniel Walker squinted, his tail twitching lazily. However, after glancing at the surrounding spirit beasts, he decided to put on a bit of a show. He curled up and rolled away dramatically. Wow, that was loud. As the attack ceased, Daniel Walker immediately got back on his feet. No wonder you're just a guard dog. This talent of yours is only good for guarding doors, too bad you're deaf. You little brat, are you tired of living? The wild dog, enraged by having its innate ability likened to mere door-guarding skills, charged at Daniel Walker again. Daniel Walker played along, rolling across the ground as if struck. Keep barking, let's see how long you can keep it up. Wow, that didn't hurt at all. Guess the saying's true, barking dogs don't bite. Naya Naya, little pup, keep going. Your voice is already hoarse. Don't lose it, or you won't even be able to watch the door for your master anymore. Each time Daniel Walker pretended to be knocked down, he would struggle to get back up, further convincing the wild dog that just a bit more effort would be enough to defeat him. This drove the dog to lose all sense of reason. 10 minutes later, the wild dog collapsed, panting heavily on the ground, looking more like a dead dog than a live one. Its mouth emitted only faint whimpers. Huh. A noble being like me, defeated by a mere guard dog like you? Keep barking if you dare. Daniel Walker sprang up and looked at it triumphantly. The surrounding spirit beasts exchanged glances, sensing that there was something peculiar about this fluffy ball. Who's next? I said, who's next? Who can possibly be stronger than me? Daniel Walker arrogantly scanned the crowd, his gaze landing on a mountain goat. Hey! You with the horns on your head. What are you staring at? Oh, wait, you're already growing a beard? Aren't you too young for that? The mountain goat's eyes immediately flared with anger. Who are you calling too young to grow old? This is natural. Oh. I see, you were born an old man, huh? What a waste of that pristine white fur of yours, and it's even as white as mine. Humph, what an insult to my nobility. Daniel Walker said disdainfully. The goat's anger flared up, its hoof twitching slightly. What? Are you angry now? Daniel Walker teased as he turned his rear toward the goat, wiggling his round bottom and shaking his tail. Then, he spun back around, raised a paw to pull down one eyelid, and stuck out his tongue. Bleh. Go ahead, hit me. The surrounding spirit beasts immediately felt a toothache from the scene. How could someone be this shameless? The goat, completely consumed by rage, charged straight at Daniel Walker, activating its innate skill. As a close combat spirit beast, its innate abilities were all focused on its horns. Daniel Walker was sent flying through the air and skidded across the ground. He quickly assessed his body. There was no doubt that the goat's innate skill had been absorbed. Only a small amount of force had impacted his body, but with his thick skin and sturdy build, it didn't bother him at all. All clear. Daniel Walker stood up amidst the laughter of the other spirit beasts, raised a paw, and motioned for the goat to come at him again. Is that all you've got? Come on. Keep going, hit me again. The goat, enraged, charged at him once more, sending him flying again. Nice. Old man, one more time. Blah, blah, blah. Why doesn't it hurt at all? Are you so old you've lost your strength? They ran around the low-level spirit beast arena until the goat could no longer keep up. Its legs gave out, and it collapsed to the ground, panting heavily while glaring at Daniel Walker. Daniel Walker looked at it with an innocent expression and said, "Looks like you really are old now." Sigh, it's so lonely being unparalleled, not even a worthy opponent in sight. As he spoke, he glanced around the arena with an air of depth, arrogance, and a touch of melancholy. In this vast spirit beast arena, there isn't a single spirit beast that can compare to a noble national treasure like me. Truly, what a sorrowful existence for a beast. The moment those words left his mouth, he managed to offend every spirit beast present. Only the group of colorful flame chickens looked at Daniel Walker with strange expressions, feeling slightly annoyed. Was this guy doing it on purpose? The spirit beasts in the yard immediately became furious. Such arrogance. Even my father wouldn't dare to say that. Hearing this, Daniel Walker turned to look. It turned out to be a monkey. Why wouldn't your father dare to say it? Didn't I just say it earlier? The monkey was momentarily stunned, then realized he was implying it was his father. It screeched loudly and charged straight at Daniel Walker to attack. The arrogant blue feather also flapped its wings and said, "No spirit beast can compare to you. Are you looking down on me?" With that, sharp wind blades shot out from under its wings, speeding toward Daniel Walker. The monkey, seeing this midway, panicked and quickly dodged aside. The spirit beasts all felt a sense of schadenfreude. This guy was definitely going to be seriously injured this time. Let's see if he dares to act arrogant again. But when the wind blades dissipated, Daniel Walker was still sitting on the ground, looking innocent as he remarked, "So refreshing. This is perfect for summer heat, it's like having a fan." Blue feathers stood on end, and around its body, more green wind blades began to gather. Die. The wind blades once again engulfed Daniel Walker. The spirit beasts watched tensely, only to hear a voice echoing from within. "Ah, amazing. A bit stronger, come on. Yes, keep fanning faster." The spirit beast's expressions immediately turned bizarre. What on earth was this guy? "Let's attack together," the monkey suddenly shouted. "He's definitely pretending. Let's charge in and teach him a lesson so he won't dare to say such things again." Good idea. Watch my fireball spell. The collective attacks of the spirit beasts rained down. Such a barrage startled even Daniel Walker, but he quickly realized his body seemed to greedily absorb these spells, causing him to shiver in delight. Yes, that's the feeling. Keep going. Ah, being unbeatable is so lonely. The group of flame chickens standing outside the spirit beasts all had complicated feelings. "Why aren't you joining in?" a fiery red fox asked them. "Aren't you staying out of it too?" The flame chicken immediately became wary, as chickens and foxes were natural enemies. The small fox sneered, "If it doesn't involve money, why should I bother? But that round little guy is really weird." The fire rooster didn't want to talk to it and had no intention of letting it know that Daniel Walker could be immune to their attacks. Surrounded and under siege, Daniel Walker felt an increasingly intense sense of comfort coursing through his body, almost as if he were about to soar into the sky.